So exams are around the corner and you're still stuck on how to revise or prepare for your maths GCSEs. You're worried about whether you're going to get the grades in the end. Well, I've got a solution for you, so keep watching.
Are you coming soon to me? No parking in the lake, so I'ma send an Uber to your place.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube. In today's video, I'm going to bring you a step-by-step solution. So this video will follow a structure of revision tips, exam tips, and hitting the higher grades. So maths GCSE is really a game. It's about getting the right amount of marks in a short period of time. It really is just scoring. 1 minute per mark for 80 questions, 90 minutes on hand. You really are time constrained. There only is one answer, it is objective. So it really is a thing of recognizing the type of questions and the topics and getting familiar with that in advance and preparing that process for when you enter exam conditions. In my final year, I managed to move in 5s and 6s to 7s, 8s and 9s, and I'm here to help you guys do so too. In this video, I'll be distinguishing between getting 5s and 6s, and if you're stuck in that range, to 8s and 9s. Before we start, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Comment down below what grade you really want to get in your maths GCSEs. And make sure to watch till the end so you can understand what you should be doing to get that 8 and 9. Now with regards to revision, maths is not the conventional subject where you should be going through a set of notes and memorizing it. It really is a matter of practice, and I cannot reinforce this enough. So my revision used to take a form of, I'd have notes, all the essential information that I would have to memorize, the sites that I'd use to revise, which would be more practice. So for my notes, I would write flashcards for any of the key equations like these ones. In most cases, the calculator papers would require you to memorize these. So whether it is Pythagoras' theorem, trigonometry, the quadratic formula, you need to know that. Print out the syllabus. You should take and evaluate your learning throughout the process and go back to platforms like Maths Genie to refresh that knowledge. I've actually uploaded below in my description my checklist that I use. There are 2 different checklists. One that starts off with foundation and then goes into higher and then goes into even higher grades. I mainly got some of that information from Maths Genie, so I do suggest going there because it will separate a lot of the work that they have there into the different grade level, so you know what grade you're working at. I would do a paper in the morning or a couple of questions in the morning, and then during the day, especially as a fun activity compared to like my essay subjects, I would do questions on the side, which was super fun. The more questions that you do, the more familiar you become with the set processes that you should be following to answer the questions in time conditions. And do not deceive yourself by deciding to pick the easier questions, because really and truly you're going to have to face them in the exams anyway. I will also mention the difference between different types of resources, textbook examples of practice questions, websites like Maths Genie, or the sites that the school actually gave to us, like we had My Maths, and finally exam papers. I would say out of all of them, My Maths was super hard. Some of the sites that our school gave us, there was one in particular, I forgot the name, but it used to have like the whole paper on the website. If I can find the link, I'll put it down below. I think they have to purchase it. They had the whole paper on the system, and then you'd go through the paper and it would show you whether you completed it and the grade at which the question that you completed was at, and you'd know how much of the question you've done, how many marks you've gotten. It was really good. I used to enjoy doing that. I would certainly say that exam questions are probably the most effective because it is just going to reflect the situation that you're going to be in on the day in June or May or whatever. Students need to start realizing that honestly, exam questions just get repeated and repeated and repeated over years, especially where the syllabus has just been maintained the same. So what you really need to do is go back to the old questions and just practice them. Start from the earliest ones if you have more time, and then textbook examples which tend to be more separated and just focus on that one topic. If you know that topic, it's not worth you doing that, so you're better just going off to exam questions which are going to be more complex and embed a bunch of different topics together. I think the fundamental issue with students when it comes to maths GCSE is understanding the question and understanding maths per se. So honestly, if it means that you have to rewatch the video several times, which you should check out Maths Genie for that, it is amazing. And there's also this other YouTube channel that is very helpful for watching paper walkthroughs where they go through the exam paper with you. I suggest you doing that straight after completing the exam and doing a question that you're stuck on, and then going back to re-practice doing that same question. Maths is certainly not a subject that can be revised with friends, and also I'll preface this with the fact that you do have to learn every single topic, because especially when you go to the higher questions, which are a mix of a bunch of different concepts, you just need to understand all of them that link to each other. But I would advise you to learn the topics that are related to each other. So algebra obviously fits with simultaneous equations, it's the fundamental to that. Basically, maths is just, it has its fundamentals. Learn the fundamentals, then move to the next stage. Everything that is on the exam paper has actually been taught to you, or should have, as long as your teachers have covered it. I think my teachers didn't manage to get through it, but that's fine. Go learn it by yourself. The more and more you practice, the more familiar you get, the faster you're able to answer those questions, and the more marks you're likely to get, and the faster you're able to complete the paper. Most students have the knowledge of the concepts and the topics, but they don't know how to apply it properly, and that's why practice is needed. Now, moving on to the exam, this is where the real stuff comes in. So other than practicing and practicing again, there's no other ways of preparing for exams. In the last few minutes before you have the exam, I would suggest you just going over your flashcard and the key equations that you need to know. So going into the exam, there's a couple essentials that you'll need: your highlighter, red pen, pencil. I cannot reinforce this enough. Anybody that is writing the whole exam in pen, don't do that to yourself. Don't even do your practice questions in pen, because what reason do you have to be doing the maths paper in pen? You need to rub out stuff. So bring a pencil and a rubber, because you will be making a lot of mistakes on the way. And if you can get extra paper, which I'm sure they provide there, then that would be great, and you can do additional writing on the side. Circle key numbers when you're going through the question, highlight them, whatever, underline them so they stick out to you. So you're working out always. Your teachers say this to you, you get marked for your working out. So say if you don't do your working out and you just got to your answer and you get the mark, that's great if you get the right answer. But say if you don't, at least if you show you're working out and there's some indications that you're going in the right direction, but the final bit is wrong, you're getting some marks. Show you're working out throughout. And that's where students start to miss out, because of ego. Make sure to reread the question, because sometimes you're misunderstanding it, and that's why I say underline and highlight, so that you know that you're fully understanding the question. Silly mistakes can be made where you're misinterpreting questions, and I am definitely a fool to that sometimes. And just some general tips for the exam. Try not to stress. Honestly, you're there, you've got it. You've got it. And there's nothing you can do more than the hard work that you've put in throughout these however many years. You've genuinely got it. Stay focused on yourself. Don't worry about your friends. When you come out of the exam, don't worry about the answers that they got, because honestly, really and truly, it's just going to throw you off. Just focus on yourself. Stay determined when you go in, and stay determined when you come out. And I'll say this as well, you got 3 papers. You got 3 papers for maths. So if paper 1 goes bad, you go again. If paper 2 goes bad, you go again. Trust me, you've got it. Students can do terrible in paper 1 and paper 2 and still get a really good grade. It's very much possible. Just keep at it. Maths GCSE does not end after paper 1. If you start to stress during the exam, drink water and pause. And if you're starting to get stuck on a question, after 1 minute, if you're still at it and you're really not understanding it, not a single number is being written on that page, just move on. Move on, because you don't have time. Try and pace yourself during the exam. Maybe do the questions that you find easy really quickly, and then move on to the harder questions. Or if you know you're a person that prefers to do the harder question first, then do that. Make sure you rest well the night before, because trust me, it's not worth going into a GCSE maths exam tired. You're just gonna fall asleep on the paper. Like, it's not worth it. You need as much energy as possible. It's a 1.5 hour exam. It's not cute. And make sure you know what exam you're going into. Know whether it's a calculator or a non-calculator, because obviously you need to bring a calculator, but not even just that. You know what type of topics you're revising. Most likely in the calculator exams, they're gonna have most of the equation type questions, the harder questions. So prepare for that. Now moving on to the tips for you guys that want to get the higher grades, the 8s, 9s, even 7s as well. Stay around. But anyway, so to get the higher grade, what really differentiates you other than practice is really understanding. Understanding will allow you to get to the answers quicker. So why I say this, understanding the reason why a certain question has been calculated in a certain way will mean that you'll be able to answer the other questions in a similar way, and it makes the process faster. Students that get 8s and 9s also start at the back of the paper. That's where all the hard questions are. Focus on getting all the hard questions done. Focus on practicing the hard questions and getting familiar with them, because it will be a breeze. So when I did my exam, I did the first few questions really quickly, just as a warm-up, and then just went straight to the back. And then everything in between is just a filler. If I start to get stuck on the hard questions, I will take a break and move on to the next question. It's not worth staying on a hard question for too long. It's best if you move on to another question and come back with a fresher mind. Figuring out different methods to getting to an answer is also a good idea, so that you can double check your answers. And finally, perfectionism, in so much as how brutal it is the key to getting those grades. Just practice is the only way that you're going to get a higher grade. As simple as a silly mistake can take you from getting an 8 or a 9, which, to be honest, the margins are not too far off. It can really cost you the grade. So really my advice for you guys is, going back to in terms of practicing questions, take a practice question, do the whole thing in timed condition, do at least 5 of them before your exam, and go through every single question. Any of the questions that you're not sure of or you're stuck on, put a mark on it. Mark your paper, don't go through the answers, and then find a video on YouTube to reteach you how to answer that question, a video that will walk you through how to answer that specific paper. So like I said, I will put in the description box the YouTube channel that I was talking about that's super helpful, and that will guide you on how to answer the question. Watch the video a couple of times so that you fully understand it, go back to the question and answer it again. This is really a visual subject, so the more you get familiar and stick in your brain how you answer a question that looks a certain way, especially with graphs, vectors, functions, whatever, it makes it easier and you'll be more confident answering the harder questions. Harder questions are literally just a combination of a bunch of middle graded questions. That's it for GCSE Math. I'll be creating more videos like this for GCSEs and A-levels that are upcoming now that we're in exam season, just to help you guys out. So make sure to subscribe to stay notified for when I drop my next video. The next 2 will be science and English, and my upload schedule is usually Wednesday and Sunday. If you have any questions, comment down below or notify me on Instagram. I'll certainly be happy to help. I genuinely believe in you. You guys have got this. Trust me, if you stay focused, stay locked in, that academic comeback will happen. You just got to think strategically, focusing on your weaknesses, and you actually achieve your exam grade goals. So you're all in. I managed to get myself an 8 in the mock from getting back-to-back 5s, 6s, even 7s. It was very frustrating, but it's very much possible to make the jump.